This is Jablam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Wojernoff and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Jablam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Wojernoff, and I'm with...
Paul Swinbeck. How's it going, everybody? Peter, how's it going?
I'm doing alright. You?
Yeah, not too bad. Waiting for a baby to pop out.
Yes, that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
So, a few more days, eh? Maybe tomorrow?
No idea. It'll come out when it comes out, I suppose.
But it's way past its due date, eh?
Yeah. 14th was the due date, so we're four days past. Yeah, so it should be coming out soon.
I'm getting the cigars ready.
Sweet.
Alright, let's get into this show. Folks, like I said last episode, we've got a website, jablamhockey.com. Go check us out. It's great. Paul's done a great job there. And also, resubscribe to our podcast if you haven't done it already, just because when we changed over from Podomatic to our now own site, jablamhockey.com, the whole RSS feed didn't go over properly, so we need people to resubscribe. And again, always rate and review us on iTunes, please. And we're always still on Facebook, Jablam Hockey as well. We're on Twitter. I'm at Russian98. And Paul?
At Zwambag, ZWAMBAG.
Perfect. Good stuff. All right. What do we have this episode? We're going to be team ISOing the Nashville Predators. We're going to be bringing in a new segment, Compare. Paul's got Holtby, and I've got Crawford. We're going to say which one is better. We've also got Fantasy Up and Down, and our Saturday's picks. First, trending now. What's trending now? Paul, did you hear about this? Robin Lehner wants to take out Scrivens? He's like, I'll see you next season, buddy.
Does Lehner not realize Scrivens won't be playing next year?
He might be in the AHL or something.
Yeah, very likely. Or he'll be backing up Price, and Price will play every single game. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Robin Lehner's kind of an oddball. I know that for a fact. So,
yeah. So it was a really odd situation. Even Scriven said, like, he said he kind of knows Lehner or whatever, and he's like, post game, the reporters are asking both of them questions, and Scriven's like, "Yeah, he's a bit of a psycho."
Yeah.
And I guess Lehner had to say that Scrivens had about 30 seconds to come and do something, but he didn't. He just stood there. Next year, if he wants to go, I'm right here.
And it's really weird. It's really weird because Robin Lehner's been reported to aggravate his high ankle sprain from earlier this year, so he hasn't been practicing every single practice with the Sabres. So it's kind of weird that he's putting so much attention on this. And
yeah, he didn't play for like the whole season.
Yeah. And then
really weird.
And then Bilesma came out the other day and said that he re-aggravated it. They signed Jason Kasdorf, so he's coming back from an injury, a groin injury at the end of his NCAA season. So I don't know why Lehner wanted to fight so badly. Like, yeah, he's probably upset about the Canadians being all over him, but if you're fighting a high ankle sprain, I don't think you want to be fighting.
I think maybe he's just pissed off about the whole situation of his season, maybe, right?
Yeah, maybe. Just letting out frustration.
Just letting it go, and that's a perfect place for hockey players, at least, to, let out their frustration. They can't go to jail for beating up somebody, right?
That's true.
So, it was a really odd situation. If you looked at the video, I was like, Scrivens didn't even have a chance, because there was the scrum, somebody pushed him. I think it was one of the younger guys on the Habs, like, kind of tried to grab at Lehner. What's his name? It's like McGrattan or something.
I don't know.
I couldn't recognize his name. I was like, "What? Who's?" I guess some young kid. And I guess obviously Lehner was like yapping at them right too while he was trying to do it. And then he's just giving a huge long stare down with Scrivens, and the ref immediately went and grabbed Lehner. Like, he was not letting him go. So there was like no chance for them to fight anyways. And the professor, as people like to call it, Scrivens, he just skated to his own blue line and just stood there, and he's like, well, I can't fight this guy, right? The ref's on him. So I didn't know. I don't know what Lehner wanted either, because there's no way the ref was letting him go. So it was a really odd situation and a funny one.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Huge. I know there's not that many teams right now fighting for that playoff spot. A lot of Canadian teams are fighting for another spot in terms of going lower, maybe. But these are tight little races for that final eighth spot in both conferences. The Flyers versus the Red Wings. The Flyers came back out of nowhere, and now they jumped the Red Wings. And I think the Red Wings won tonight, so they jumped right back over them again.
Yeah, they won 3-1 against the Blue Jackets Thursday night. So
yeah, it was actually a pretty close game too. But the Flyers, I don't know, the Flyers look unstoppable right now. And then the Avs re-jumped the Wild, right? So these are both tight races. They're both in the thick of things. Both teams. I know that the races aren't that crazy. There's a few good races for like the Atlantic champion and for the division leads, but trying to fight to get that final playoff spot is always the best race you want to see in any sport, right?
yeah, and Detroit has that long-standing 24 straight playoff season. I think it's 24.
I think this season will be 24, something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, they have that on the line. The Flyers have 2 games in hand, so
yeah, they've got 2 games in hand and just 1 point back, I guess, right now.
Yeah, and they're 8-1-1 in the last 10, so they are playing really good hockey right now.
And that's without Voracek, am I right?
That is.
Wow, and now he's coming back. What, next game or something? So
yeah,
they are unstoppable right now. Everything's clicking for them right now. I don't know. Do you think Detroit still has a chance?
Man, Mrazek is out sick right now. He's not playing very well. If they're going to lean on Howard, hopefully he finds his game. I don't know. Larkin has fallen off quite a bit.
He hasn't been like he was at the first half of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it looks like the Flyers are going to win this race, but it's still close. You never know. But like I predicted at the beginning of the season, I didn't even think the Red Wings would be in the playoffs. And it's weird that I predicted it, and with that streak on the line, it's crazy. But it looks like they might just slide out. What do you think about the Avs and Wild? Who do you think? Like I said, Wild a while ago. I'm still going to go with them, but right now the Avs are playing slightly better.
Yeah, and the Wild got thumped by the Devils 7-4 on Thursday. So
Devils are playing a lot better though lately. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy that Minnesota's goal differential is +6 and Colorado's is -8. That's weird to see. I think Colorado's the only team with a minus. Oh no, Detroit's a -8 as well. So
yeah, so they might miss it too. So that one's a tough one, but I still think the Wild might pull it out. It's going to be close, but they're great races.
Yeah.
Then what do you think about the Van Velde hit on Jonathan Toews?
Yeah, that was dirty.
It was dirty. Like, again, that brings me to the point. I don't know. I don't even think they're going to suspend him, in my opinion. I don't know. He might get a game, but I don't know. I don't expect it for some reason. It was kind of like he was totally going for the hit, and he just brought the arm up foolishly, kind of thing, and hit him in the head. So, in my point, again, I don't like where it's no penalty or it's a penalty, and then later on they get suspended. In the game, I wouldn't have mind if Toronto, say, called in or somebody called in, or like there was a guy doing the game there and calling in to the refs and giving him a 5-minute in the game or a double minor or something, because they deserve that in the game itself for him to be getting a penalty. And hey, they won that game. The Flyers won that game. It was a tight game against Chicago, so it might have been the difference if they gave him something more or whatever. I'm not a big fan of always, if there's a major penalty, they give him the game misconduct as well. Why not just give him a 4-minute or even a 5-minute major and nothing else, just so they get punished? But maybe the player, it wasn't that bad, but it was fairly bad. Do you think he will get suspended, or what do you think?
He might get a game. I don't think it'll be very, very large, but I don't understand the suspensions. It's just I think they throw a dart at a dartboard. I really do.
Yep. All right. So the GM's talking, and the expansion draft rules are broad parameters per se have been set. The bids they're expected in June, and we could have new teams in the NHL for the 2017-2018 season. I get excited about this. I get goosebumps on my arm. Hope excited, giddy for new teams to come, and these whole new interesting rules that they make for an expansion draft. So again, we already know the two teams that they put in applications are Las Vegas and Quebec. Could be one, could be both of them. It seems like a lot of GMs and people in the media think it's just Vegas, and maybe later on in the future, a team could be relocated maybe to Quebec. Still think Quebec would be a better place as a Canadian. I feel, you know.
Yeah, and Seattle might be a dark horse team brought in. I think they do that over Quebec almost because there's 16 teams in the East and only 14 in the West. So if they're bringing in two, you think they would be bringing in two Western teams. So
they could shift everything over a little bit as well. Seattle never put in that application when they were supposed to.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that much it weighs, but yeah, the rules are for the expansion draft. Current teams get to protect 7 forwards, 3 D-men or a goaltender, or 8 skaters and a goalie. I don't know what's going on with the whole thing with 2 different options, especially one having 2 more players, right?
I'm going to give you a scenario. Okay.
All right.
Okay,
go ahead.
You're David Poile of the Nashville Predators.
Mm-hmm.
You've got solid defensemen: Ekholm, Ellis, Weber, Yossi. There's 4 right there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're option 1, you're only allowed to carry 3. Keep 3.
Yeah.
So do you go the route you take the 8 skaters and you take the 4 defensemen, a goalie, Rene, and like Johansson, Neal, Forsberg?
Yeah. Right? You put the nail on the head, I guess, because that's the only thing is if you rather have more of a certain position, more forwards or defensemen, or in my mind, I was right. Maybe it's because they want to leave more high-end contracts that they want to give to be exposed to being taken away. That's what I was thinking, maybe something like that. But yeah, I guess your idea makes more sense. And for a team like Nashville, who has much better defense than many of their forwards, it probably would be a better idea to keep their 4 defensemen, right?
Yeah. The other idea is if you don't have any good defensemen, or if you have 1 or 2 and you don't have 3, you go with the 8 players because you can keep more forwards, right?
Yeah, I guess it just depends. I guess in the situation. So yeah, it makes a little sense.
It's crazy they don't have an option for 1 goalie or 2 goalies because that's what they did in 2000 expansion. They let you keep 1 goalie or they let you keep 2 goalies. So teams like Pittsburgh's one of them that Matt Murray might be in trouble, or Fleury might be in trouble.
Yeah,
right?
or even Tampa Bay. Bishop's a great goalie now, but Vasilevsky could be a future and amazing goaltender, right?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of good goalies, young goalies or old goalies, that are going to be available. Because like even Anaheim, Gibson and Anderson.
Yeah, I would expect them to keep Gibson then. I guess
you would think they would.
But again,
take the future. But
if it is only 2 teams, and that's the max, I would think, right? That they're going to expand to 2 teams and maybe relocate one if Seattle's in the picture as well as Vegas and Quebec. Then it's only two guys per team, and as well, I guess 4 total goalies. That'd be another goalie problem if teams had 2 good goalies then for the newer teams.
Is it 4 or is it 6? Because in 2000 they drafted 6.
3 each.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
There's a lot of questions still.
Imagine drafting like Murray. No, let's say that everybody keeps their young goalies. So you draft Fleury, Bishop, Anderson, all on 1 team.
Yeah. Well,
so like Anderson's your 3rd goalie playing in the AHL.
Well, they're not going to do that, especially if they have pretty high contracts. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And they're gonna have cap differences with
Yeah.
the two new teams or one new team. They'll have a different cap, I think.
That's
Is
the
what they're
other thing
saying.
I was thinking about too. That because they were saying they have to expose enough players which total at least 25% of the previous season's payroll. I believe Pierre LeBrun said that. And what does that happen? What does that do to the cap the next season, especially with teams having to hit the bottom part of that cap? Right? It's
Yeah,
kind of odd.
yeah,
So I would expect the cap to slightly go maybe down that year.
yeah. There's going to be a lot of ironing out of rules and details in the
Yep.
next couple months when they actually decide to announce
Yep.
the expansion. So
Yeah. So and again, first year and second year pros are exempt, so they cannot be taken by the new teams. But third guys that are on their third year of their entry levels are available if they're not protected.
well,
So it's pretty,
if they're playing pros,
yeah, yeah, if they're playing in the pro.
yeah,
And the league also hasn't decided on no movement clauses. So, but I'm pretty sure if you have a no movement clause, I'm pretty sure that they won't. Their agent will step in and say, no, you can't move the guy. He has a no movement clause.
yeah. So does the no movement guys get put into the protected 8 skaters or 7?
Yeah, you know what? In my opinion, I think the league should step in and say they have to be,
Yeah.
because that would be unfair to those teams.
Well, and it's the GM's fault for making those contracts. So
Yeah, exactly. So they would have to be put on that list of protected players, in my opinion.
I think in the summer we should dive into expansion. Maybe post some teams that we think will protect
Yeah.
teams. That'd
Yeah,
be fun to do.
I'll go with Vegas. You go with Quebec. And in one of our episodes this summer, we'll do it up and we'll do a fantasy expansion draft.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
That'll be cool. We should write that down. We'll do that. That'll be great. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into our new segment. Compare versus. Paul's got Holtby. I've got Crawford. We don't have a timer, Paul. We should get a timer. Next time we do this segment, we're gonna do a timer. I'm gonna try to time it right now, kind of, but clock's almost at 2 minutes. So, and I'll give you in 5. I'll give you 1 minute for your side of Holtby, right? And go. You got 1 minute.
All right, Braden Holtby. He's 4 years into his NHL career. In his last 3 years, he's played 59 games. His winning percent is 75% this year. Over his last 3 years, 60% winning percentage. Yeah, he only has 2 shutouts against Crawford's 7. No big deal. Shutouts are more of a team stat. 2.22 goals against average. That's 7th in the league. 9th in save percentage at 922. He's first in wins at 42. Who's the next highest? Crawford. But how much lower is that? We don't know. Peter will tell us. He's only 26 years old. He makes the same amount of money as Crawford, who's 5 years older than him. What else we got? His average shot distance is 36. In the save percentage between 1 and 15 feet, he's at 835 save percentage. So those are the in-tight shots.
Boom. Your minute's done. All right. So those are some good comments, and yeah, I guess he is better in certain areas. But my turn. You want to time it, Paul?
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, it's Corey Crawford. How can you not want this guy as your goalie? The top goalie, in my opinion. First off, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, as well as 2 times Jennings Trophy winner. Obviously, the same 2 years he's won the Cup. Second in saves in total in the NHL. Second in save percentage among goalies with 35 games or more. And at .926, just behind the leader, Ben Bishop. He's playing great. And you know what? Their defense keeps on changing. When they win the Stanley Cup, they got to remove guys. They've given away a guy like Oduya. They got to fill it in. And there hasn't been replacements. Guys like Duncan Keith get injured, but he still solidifies their back end, and he's a great goalie. Again, first in shutouts, like Paul said, way ahead of
10 seconds.
Second place. Oh, second place in 2. So you know he can really shut it down when he has to, and he's done that in the playoffs. Playoff experience, 40 wins. Second best Lundqvist. And there you go. He's great in the playoffs, and that's the number one important thing. So, in your opinion, Paul, do you think Holtby is that much better than Crawford?
I don't think he's that much better. I think he's slightly better. And I think a lot has to do with team when you're looking at goalie stats and stuff, but I think Holtby is slightly better than Crawford. I think Crawford is undervalued.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody just overlooks him. They never put him in the elite. Holtby finally got put into elite status. I think Crawford's right there on the edge of elite status. And if he keeps playing the way he is, he's definitely going to be in that elite group.
And that's why Crawford is kind of undervalued, because he's on the Hawks. He's kind of... Do you think, if you're comparing, he's worse than Osgood, or is he in that range? In my opinion, he's way above Osgood.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. He can win a game for the Blackhawks when he needs to.
It seems like people are putting him into that Osgood category.
Yeah.
Because Detroit won cups and Osgood was there, but Crawford can steal you games. He's also, in my opinion, he's just really, really consistent, and he easily forgets one goal to next or one game to next, and that's so important in the playoffs. And that's where we haven't seen what Holtby can really do. He played all right in the playoffs, but again, he was kind of shaky at times too.
It'll be interesting if Price can't play in the World Cup this year because of his injury, or he just doesn't have enough time on ice and playing time and stuff, to see who Canada goes with, Crawford or Holtby.
Yeah. There you go.
That'll maybe make our decision. I think we should make a poll. So once we publish this, there'll be a poll out on our Twitter.
Yep. Who do you think
Holtby or
is better?
Crawford? We want to ask who's better.
Or no, how about this? Who would you rather have as the goalie for Team Canada?
All right, yeah.
I think that's a better question to put, because maybe a certain guy, again, he's more clutch when it comes to bigger games, whereas a guy like Holtby has better numbers over the last 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where you settle that line between the two, I think, is experience and what Crawford's done over a couple of years and in big games, and Holtby, what he's done specifically in these last 2 years. Yeah, in my opinion, Holtby, you can't say he isn't the best goalie in the NHL over the last 2 years during the season.
Yeah.
So, all right, Paul, let's go with your fantasy up and downs. What do you got?
All right. So since it's week 1 of most people's fantasy hockey seasons, I know I got a couple that aren't starting till next week. Not happy about it, because that makes us end on the very last week of hockey, which is the worst part of fantasy hockey. I'm going to go with a couple streamers, guys that you can pick up Saturday or Sunday night games, maybe even Friday if you're able to pick a guy up the day of a hockey game, and you'll be listening to this on Friday. So I'm going to go through a bunch of the different categories and give you one or two guys and the reason why. All right, points. If you need points, Antoine Vermette in his past 6 games, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. He's only 14% owned. He plays back-to-back Saturday, Sunday against Tampa Bay and San Jose. So they're good teams, but he's hot right now. So Vermette is a guy that I would like if I need some points.
Interesting, Vermette, yeah.
Another guy, Michael Backlund, he's only 9% owned. He's got a Friday game and a Sunday game against Colorado and Montreal. Past 7 games, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. You're going to hear this guy's name in a couple different categories, so he's definitely a guy you want to pinpoint for Friday night's games. And if you need a category late Sunday, definitely Michael Backlund should be on your radar. Penalty minutes. Cody McLeod and Zach Kassian play each other on Sunday night. They play each other. They fought each other February 20th. So if you need penalty minutes, these guys are likely dropping the gloves with each other again for a rematch. Nobody really won. It was a draw game, so they're definitely fighting. I really think they'll fight. So McLeod's 7% owned, Cassian's 1% owned. If you need penalty minutes on Sunday night to win that category, to win your week, definitely look at these two. Shorthanded points. Not a lot of the rest of these are for sure categories, but shorthanded points for Leak, 7 games, 3 shorthanded points in those 7 games. He plays Colorado and Montreal Friday and Sunday. Colorado has given up 6 shorthanded goals, and Montreal's given up 8. So it's a good chance that shorthanded points are hard to find. They kind of just happen. They're not very predictable. So,
But you're trying to predict them.
yeah. So Frolik has been getting shorthanded points lately. So definitely look for him. Martinick from Arizona plays back-to-back Saturday, Sunday against Tampa Bay and San Jose. Both of them have given up 6 shorthanded goals in the season. His last 6 games, he's got 2 shorthanded points, so he's worth the pickup if you need a shorthanded point bonus.
Cool.
Game-winning goals. These are tough to predict, too, so I'm going to give you a couple of guys that are scoring goals. Zach Smith, 20% owned, Friday, Saturday, back-to-back against Buffalo and Montreal, who are giving up goals. 7 games, 5 goals for Zach Smith. One of those was a game winner. Michael Backlund, again, 7 games, 4 goals, 2 game-winning goals. He plays, again, Friday and Sunday, Colorado and Montreal. So, Backlund's a great guy to get on Sunday to fit these last few categories. Matt Cullen, his past 2 goals have been 2 game-winning goals. They play back-to-back Saturday and Sunday against Philadelphia and Washington. So, tough, close games. He could very likely be scoring one of those game-winning goals, hopefully. Shots on goal. Zach Bogosian is not a guy you would think shooting a lot, but past 7 games, he's got 28 shots on goal. He plays Friday and Saturday against Ottawa and Toronto, who are giving up 33-plus shots for Ottawa and 30-plus shots for Toronto. So he's likely going to be shooting a lot. His teammate, Brian Giunta, also 26 shots on goal in his past 7 games, so he's very likely going to be shooting the puck a lot as well against Ottawa and Toronto. Face-off wins. Sean Couturier, 70 face-off wins in his past 7 games. That's 10 per game. If you need face-off wins, he's playing Saturday and Sunday. Or he's playing Friday night, sorry. So pick him up for the Friday night game, drop him Saturday, Sunday for, say, Michael Backlund for Sunday night. So that's 2 guys you could have within the next 3 games. It's definitely a good idea to look at what categories you are capable of winning and find these guys on the waiver wire.
Yeah, that's always good.
Couple of
guys midweek.
Yeah, and if you have a minimum ads, make sure or a maximum ads, make sure you're using up all your ads by the end of the week. That's just giving you an extra game played for your roster. So,
but Paul, I'm really attached to Lars Eller. I don't want to give him up.
Well, see, it's your last week maybe. If you're going to lose, Lars Eller's no good next week if you're not even playing fantasy hockey anymore. So give up on Lars Eller. Gone.
The season's almost over.
Couple of goalie streams. I know, fantasy hockey's almost done. It's ridiculous. Hopefully my teams, all of them are winning right now, so I'm looking good. Goalie streams for the end of the week. Matt Murray, a back-to-back. He's playing either Philadelphia or Washington on Saturday or Sunday. So
oh, cool. That'll be exciting.
Only 5% owned, so very likely available. So make sure you pick him up if you need a win or just saves, or he's only let in 2 or 3 goals his past couple of games he's played. So
hopefully he loses. I picked the Flyers on Saturday.
Nice. Couple of back-to-back games. Columbus and Devils are playing back-to-back Saturday, Sunday. So if you're just looking for a goalie start, they're both going to be tired. So Jan Denis could get a start because Keith Kincaid can't start both. He might start both, but Jan Denis definitely going to be available in your league. So if you're just looking for a goalie start, maybe to get a win, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. Or Curtis McElhinney. You could try him, 1%. So
make a high, make a hiney ho.
Yeah, so those 2 guys are definitely going to be available. Darcy Kemper, 8%. He should get a start Saturday, Sunday, playing Carolina and Chicago on the weekend. So check your starting goalies on Saturday to see if he's playing Carolina. That'd be a great matchup for Darcy Kemper. So those are a couple of my player streams for the end of this week, Peter.
Perfect. And yeah, review this episode again if you need some fantasy tips again later on in this week in a couple of days. Paul has some good ideas in there, so check them out. And again, Paul, you have them on your website, do you? A lot of these picks, recommendations.
No, not really, no. But
All
I'm
right, then
more
you
than
gotta put
happy to
these.
take questions. Like if anybody's got a
Yeah,
this guy or this guy at the end of the week, I'm more than happy to help out.
yeah. Tweet Paul. Make sure you do that. All right, let's get into Team ISO. This episode will be Team ISOing the Nashville Predators. I had them pretty much where they are. Maybe on the outside looking in, I had them in that 8 to 10 spot, fighting for the wild card spot. With a few of the Canadian teams, again, I thought some of these teams, like Vancouver and Calgary, would be a little bit higher, right? At least almost in fighting chance of a playoff spot. But the Predators are actually playing a lot better than I expected. They're in that top division. That Central Division is ridiculously hard, and I knew that they wouldn't be in the top three just because I expected Dallas to be a lot better this year. But people, you know what? They should be afraid of them because if they weren't in this Central Division, the toughest division in hockey, they'd be much higher, in my opinion. They're like what 7-1-2 in the last 10 games, and I think 10-1-5 or something in the last 6 games. They're basically the hottest team in the NHL in this stretch, especially in the Western Conference by far. With the playoffs, how they work, they might be playing against one of the Pacific teams in the first round, eh? So that'll be kind of interesting. And if they keep this up, in my opinion, they might be a huge underdog favorite in the playoffs. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think they should be looked up. They shouldn't be looked over, definitely, because
Yeah.
like Pekka Rinne has finally found his game. He had a
And he
really
could steal
slow
games.
start.
He could steal games for them.
Oh yeah, definitely. He had a really slow start at the beginning of the year, and has
Yeah.
finally found his game. And that defense core is unbelievable. Roman Yossi is just incredible.
Oh, he's so underrated.
Yeah,
I think he's like top 7 in points by defenseman in the last month. So he's killing it. And you know what? The Preds, they've got like the most underrated defense in the entire league. Their top 4 is amazing. And it's crazy because they're not one of those teams, especially earlier in the years, that would spend to the cap. So over the years, they've had to give some decent defensemen away that they've trained in-house. Cody Franzen, Kevin Klein, Kimmo Timonen, Dan Hamhuis, Ryan Suter, and now Seth Jones. But they still keep on producing young defensemen.
yeah. Their defense core is remarkable. And looking at the prospects, there's not a lot of depth left,
Mm-hmm.
but they're set for years to come. So
Yeah, we can go on and on about how good Shea Weber is and his shot and how he eats up minutes and he's top 15 in NHL and everything, and Yoshi as well. Smooth skating, blocking shots all over the place. But what people should be looking at is Ryan Ellis and Matthias Ekholm. You even said it, I think, earlier in this episode. They're two of the younger, better defensemen in the NHL. Very solid. And that contract, I remember when Nashville signed it, it was a year ago with Ellis. That's a solid contract for a guy that plays so well like himself. And he's going to be even better, in my opinion, next few years.
oh yeah, he's just going to keep growing.
I think they're both Ellis and Ekholm are top 25 in plus minus for the whole league. So they've got a great top 4.
Yeah.
And then again, nobody's shocked that the Predators don't have anybody in the top 30 forwards in points and stuff. That's kind of just how their style is. But Phil Forsberg is seriously heating up. He's top 5 in the points in NHL over last month. He's got like 11 goals and 17 points in the last 16 games. He is on fire and pretty much almost where they expect him to be.
Yeah, and Craig Smith is having a great year too.
Yeah, he's heated up. He was slow in the early beginning though.
Yeah,
So
but at a half point per game rate, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It is pretty good. So what do they have in terms of future that you see that might be pretty good?
Well, they brought up this kid for a couple games, Kevin Fiala, first round pick, 11th overall. Only 6 games in 2 years in the NHL, but he's NHL ready.
Yep.
I don't know why they haven't brought him up yet, and to keep up.
He's a sneaky guy, eh? He can really just come out of nowhere with some good speed and get some good shots on net. So he's shown that he can score in some big situations as well.
Yeah, and another kid I like, Jimmy Vesey. This is an interesting one, Peter.
I know. I hear.
So he's graduating from Harvard this year.
Yep.
He doesn't have a contract signed with Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Nashville still owns his rights until August 15th, 2016.
And then on August 16th, the Maple Leafs are going to sign him, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the rumor going around that Toronto's courting every single free agent NCAA player out there, because that's what they do. But if he goes unsigned, yes, he becomes a free agent and he can sign elsewhere. He is saying he's loyal with the Predators and he wants to get a contract signed. If they sign a contract before the end of the season, he can join the team.
Yeah, and he could play in the playoffs.
Yeah, so that would be a big boost for their scoring, because this kid is good. 41 points in 28 games at Harvard this year. So
yeah, he's 22 and he's turning 23 soon too.
yeah,
So he's pretty much NHL playoff, maybe not playoffs, but NHL ready.
yeah. Another kid, Vladislav Kamenev, might sound familiar. The Russian. I think he was the captain for the World Juniors.
Kamenev, yep.
Yeah, 6 points in 7 games in those World Juniors. So
Yep.
he's just going to keep developing. I think he's 2, maybe 3 years away, but he's going to be a good hockey player.
Yeah. A lot of guys are saying that they remind him of Nikushkin on Dallas. That's what they say.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, he's going to be more steady.
Yeah, I think so. I think
he's going to be a little bit better because he's shown he can be a leader, like you said, on Team Russia, and he's a smooth skater, great hands, and he has good size, and he uses it a lot. So he's kind of a little bit of everything. He might not be a huge scorer, but he's going to be a good playmaker, and he's pretty versatile.
Yeah, and like I said, defenseman depth not very deep on the prospect list. Goalie UC Saros, he's a shorter goaltender. He's only 5'10". It's crazy to say that a guy's short at 5'10". Like, that's my height. Maybe I'm a little bit taller than 5'10", but
yeah.
But for a goalie, that's short. So UC Saros is probably not a starting goaltender. He might be a 1A, 1B type guy, but he's definitely not going to become elite whatsoever. So they do have a little bit of goalie depth, but Renee's not going anywhere, I don't think. So yeah, your buddy Petter Granberg, remember him?
Yeah, he's doing okay for them, eh?
Yeah, not bad. I don't think it's going to turn into an NHL career, but
I still think I do think that he might find his way somewhere, and he'll be a decent 5'6" guy, in my opinion. I just feel he's one of those guys. He's a sneaky European type guy, like from like Finland and stuff, that can do that kind of thing, right?
yeah, I don't see it happening in Nashville. That's for sure.
Yeah,
too many good defensemen.
He's in the thick of things with Nashville right now. They're just using him as probably the seventh man. But I feel that he can go somewhere, and he could turn into a decent defenseman on the bottom pairing. So we'll see. Again, he was the Leafs prospect, and they gave him up to the Preds. So we'll see what happens. What do you think? What do you expect from the Predators in the playoffs, especially if they play, say, an LA Kings type team in the playoffs? Do you think they have a shot?
I think they'd have a better shot if they played Anaheim.
Anaheim, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really know why, but Los Angeles just they play a puck possession game and they play hard. I think they would beat down the Nashville defense. It's like Yossi's not a big guy.
Yeah.
Weber's getting older, so maybe slowing down a little bit, but
yeah. And the Ducks defense is a little younger, so I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Either way, it's going to be a great matchup. Nashville should not be looked over. Definitely not.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do upset the Ducks or the Kings in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Saturday's picks. for this Saturday, March 19th.
Oh, man.
First, we go with Paul's Penguins at the Flyers in Philadelphia. Who do you got, Paul?
I hate saying this, but I think the
Yes.
Flyers
That's
are going to
right.
win.
That's right. The Flyers are going to win. I got the Flyers as well. Voracek also might be back. And the Flyers are on fire right now. So they look unstoppable. And, Paul, do the Flyers usually beat up on the Pens?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially in Philadelphia. We do not play well in Philadelphia. We get off our game. They start getting dirty with us. And, yeah.
And then Crosby tries to play dirty, too, and he just does it wrong.
Yeah, and we don't really have big, tough guys to defend our skilled players. So I think we might be in tough.
All right. Next, we got Carolina at Minnesota. I'm going with Minnesota just because they've got to find wins to get that last spot. So I'm going with the Wild.
That's exactly what I wrote. Fighting for their playoff lives. Minnesota Wild. I'm taking them too.
All right. Next, we got the New York Rangers at San Jose. What do you have, Paul?
I'm going with San Jose. The Rangers are going to be at the end of a long West Coast road trip, so I think they're in too deep.
Yeah,
Good pun.
in too deep in the deep end, and the Sharks are going to bite back.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just have a feeling the Rangers might win this game. It's a bit of a toss-up for me, but they need to start winning some more games, or they could slip and fall into a wild card spot, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. That could happen.
So they need wins, and I think this could be one of them. All right, Buffalo at Toronto. I'm going to go with the Leafs on this one. I know you probably won't, but I'm going with the Leafs. The Leafs are playing a little bit better. They like playing the youth, and they're doing a pretty good job of it.
They are more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
But I'm going with the Sabres. Sticking to my guns, not picking the Leafs.
Yeah. All right. Leafs are going to win. All right. Montreal at Ottawa. This one, it's another toss-up almost for me. But I don't know why, but I'm going with the Habs. But I'm expecting an OT game in this one. You, Paul?
I flipped a coin for this one. Literally
Yeah.
flipped a coin. I have no idea. They're both not playing great hockey.
Yep, exactly. Detroit at Florida. What did you pick, Paul?
I got the Florida Panthers. Detroit has fallen off, and I just Florida wants top of Atlantic Division. They want that bragging right, and I think they're going to beat the Red Wings.
Yeah, it was weird because I think we picked Florida recently and they lost at home, but they're a very good home team. But Detroit really needs to win. But I'm still going to go with Florida on this one as well.
Wow, we're picking a lot of the same, Peter.
Some of them we are. New Jersey at Columbus. I'm going with New Jersey. They're just playing really, really, really well lately. Columbus was, but not too much in the last few games. So I'm going with New Jersey. You, Paul?
I'm going with the Devils. I was really worried they were going to lose that Thursday night game. They were up 7-2, and Minnesota scored 2 back, and I was so worried that the Devils were going to lose. I just picked up Keith Kincaid in my fantasy hockey.
Me too. And
hopefully he pulls off some more wins.
Yeah, and Devontae Smith-Pelly, he's on fire for them, eh?
Oh, wow. Man, 9 points in like 6 games or something like that, or 4 games? Yeah.
Good for him. I liked him when he was playing on the Ducks, and he was scoring some decent goals in the playoffs for them, too. So it's good that he might find a home in New Jersey.
Yeah.
All right, Long Island at Dallas. Going with the Islanders. This game is a toss-up, in my opinion, too. Dallas isn't playing well lately. Islanders okay, and Islanders are actually a decent team on the way. So
I'm going with the Islanders. Dallas at home on Saturday, no thanks.
Yeah, so they're not playing well lately as well. So this is not looking good for Dallas going into the playoffs. So we'll see. And then we got St. Louis at Vancouver. What do you have, Paul?
I'm going with the Blues. They have to turn it around. They've been losing some bad games against bad teams. So
yeah,
I think they got to get it turned around. And the Canucks very capable of turning teams around. So
yeah, I'm doing the same. Going with the Blues in Vancouver. Just they got to find wins to get back into this race. You know, it's still a toss-up for that division. So anybody can still win that division. So we'll see what happens. Tampa Bay at Arizona. I'm picking. Go ahead.
I'm going with the Lightning. I think they're just far better than Arizona.
Yeah, same here. Tampa Bay's playing fairly well as well lately, so got to go with Tampa Bay. And the last game of the night, right, Paul?
Yep.
Is it the best game of the night? What do you think?
Yep. Should be the best tilt.
Yeah, Boston at LA. And I have LA to win in a close game, maybe overtime game. What do you call?
You and your overtime games.
Hey, you know what, Paul? My overtime picks are actually pretty good, right?
They are pretty close, yeah.
I think I've been right at least 75% of the time.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good with these. So, who do you have for the game?
I'm going with the home team, the Kings. The Bruins are on that long West Coast trip as well, just like the Rangers. So yeah,
and they're playing the night before as well, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so that's tough. But I don't know. I like watching the Bruins too. They play a good game, and even if they're down and out, they find ways to somehow come back and win some games too. So it'll be a great game either way. Even if you see the game and it's 4-1, don't expect Boston or LA to be out of the game. Either team can come back as well.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be physical too.
Yeah, so check that game out too. That's in my opinion, and probably Paul's as well, the game of the night, the game of the day or night to watch.
Yeah. What else are you going to be watching Saturday? Anything else catch your eye?
Out of the games, Pens and Flyers, always a great rivalry. You're going to want to watch that in the early afternoon. And the evening game, maybe Islanders and Dallas, just because they're in the thick of things.
Yeah, I might tune into the Rangers Sharks. I enjoy watching the Sharks, so I'll probably watch that one too.
Yeah, you do. So we'll see, but there's a couple good games, and again, like I said, the Pens and Flyers game will be pretty good, obviously.
Yep, I'll be tuning in.
And the Flyers want to solidify that last spot, so it'll be great to watch. That's it for this episode, folks. I hope you liked it. Especially, I hope you liked our new segment, Compare. Me and Paul will be having a lot more compares during the playoffs in matchups, going versus battles, 1 minute each, see who we think is better. And we'll have a lot of that in the future. But for next episode, we're going to be team ISOing the New York Rangers. Paul will bring the next prospect of the week. And we got a new segment coming. I don't know if we've done it before. Maybe we have. But we're bringing in the chopping block. Which GMs or coaches' jobs are on the line at the end of the season? So check out for that episode. And remember, always catch us on Twitter, Jablam Hockey, and as well we have our own. And go check our website. We've got a lot of stuff there, jablamhockey.com. All right, see you later. Till next time.